What if you just legitimately need twice as many clients right now? What if you could make the money you want to make? What if you are actively going to work the same number of transactions, but to hit your goals, to impact the same amount of people, you just needed twice as many clients right now? Hey, folks, this is Todd Tremonti, and this is Commissioned. I lead a real estate team and a coaching company in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Our team does well over $1 million in gross commission income every single year, and we coach agents in all corners of North America to build a business that supports the life you want to live, to get out of the grind and the frustration and the confusion and sometimes the anger and destruction of a traditional residential real estate business and get into the freedom and the wealth and the impact and the fun and the joy of having a real estate business that supports the life you want to live, that you want to leave a legacy with. And that's for owners and team leaders. It's also for agents and team members and brokers. It's for anybody who's willing to put in the work and do that. And so what we're talking about today on this episode is what I think is the reality of the current market. Now, the numbers might be different in different markets and different pipelines and different situations, but I think you just need more clients right now to get to the closing numbers, the income numbers, the outcome numbers that people really want. Now, we're going to dive into, as we make our way through the episode here, what that really means, because it's not always easy getting more clients, but it's often that we're focused on the wrong things, trying to fix things that are either not broken or that are just terribly difficult to fix, and we're not getting to our goal. And the market we're in right now, and we're recording this mid-July 2026, is one that I've been calling the murky middle for 2.5 to 3 years. Not a stable middle market, not in between buy side and sell side, not in between buyer leverage and seller leverage, not like a cute 4 to 6 months of inventory, but this murky middle ground where some things feel buyer market, some things feel seller market. Some areas feel like high inventory, other areas feel like no inventory. Some areas feel like a fast-paced market, and some other areas look like we're just stuck in concrete.
I think you actually worded it really well in our team meeting this past week, where you were basically saying, like, this neighborhood was felt like a buyer's market last week, and then today 5 things went under contract. This street over here has been fast selling continually for the last 3 years, but the street three streets away, that one's been not moving as quickly. And then this house over here seems to have been sitting for a while, but then all of a sudden there's 3 of the same type that just sold. I mean, like, that's literally
the
how
the market feels schizophrenic.
Yeah.
It feels like it doesn't make any sense. But if we could make sense of it, it would be saying you might just need twice as many clients to get to the number of closings. You have to work twice as hard per closing. And I'm using these numbers loosely. Maybe it's 50% more, 30% more. Maybe in some areas it's 300% more. I don't know. But what I want to say, because our audience is successful agents, team leaders, brokers, that we're not generally talking to brand new agents that this would really tick off.
Well, I was going to say, it's also dependent upon how many clients the person listening currently has, right? So
that's where I'm just saying, look, if you're a brand new agent, lean in. This will help you. But this message is primarily not for you, meaning that this would be harder for you.
Yep.
But if you're an agent and you've been doing this a while and you have got multiple sources of business and you know how to pull the lever to get new clients, or you're on a team where there's probably more opportunity than you're fully tapping into, or you're a brokerage where you've got some scale and leverage and lead sources and budgets and marketing and past clients and agents and all these kind of things, then you can do this. You probably know how to go get another client. Now, you may not always want to. You may not always feel like you have the bandwidth for that. And so let's start there. When I say bandwidth, you have heard the objections here, right? And again, this is not an objection that the typical entry-level agent even appreciates or certainly believes in, and it might frustrate them. But what are agents saying to you, successful agents, if you were saying to them, I think you need twice as many clients right now?
So obviously, let's just say I'm going to take this individually for people that only work with buyers and people that only work with sellers.
Yep.
It's going to apply to both. On the sell side, I'm going to hear people saying, I'm talking to so many of clients right now that are frustrated that their homes are not selling, that I can't have more of those conversations. I'm having 15 of them with different people multiple times a day with some people. On the buy side, I'm going to hear, I'm actively showing 7 families homes right now. I'm going out with at least 1 or 2 families every single day. I don't have the ability to do double that.
Yeah. So that's the typical objection from successful agents that do have full pipelines and have leads and relationships and sources to have continuously full pipelines. And I know that this is an annoying answer. If the question is, how the heck am I supposed to do that? The answer is, we've got to stop doing anything right now that is not truly productive or critical long-term, because you can't stop all long-term building. Long-term thinking is one of my top 3 most important things in business. So you can't just stop preparing for the future, but a lot of the things that are less effective or experimental or old habits or just less proven or whatever, we're going to have to stop doing some of that in a market like this, where you're already working twice as hard, or you're working as hard as you always do, and you have 30% less or 50% less or 100% less income.
Well, it's also stop negatively thinking that you can't do something.
Right. Explore your new capacity, expand your capacity, get more efficient. Or sometimes for real estate agents, and I know you're gonna be shocked by this one, but sometimes you just need to work harder.
I was so happy at our church the past weekend, and I know you were smiling too when they mentioned the Bob Newhart skit of where
that I've shared 27,000 times.
Exactly, and I've told other people all about it, where the guy's advice to the woman that's afraid of being buried in a box is simply stop it.
Stop it.
And so every time I hear a complaint or some sort of negativity or somebody not believing they can do something, it's the first thing that comes to mind, where it's just like, hey, I wish I had something better for you than this, but all I've got to give you right now is stop it.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, a lot of the times that's all you need.
It really is.
It's like, well, I can't handle more clients. Well, you can.
Right.
The better question would be, how can I handle more clients? Well, I probably have to get to the office 30 minutes earlier so I can get all that stuff situated, so then I could do other critical stuff. Okay.
Where am I spending time during my day doing things that I shouldn't be doing?
Yeah. Or that I was good for me to be doing 6 months ago, but things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do those anymore. Or that used to produce this result and now it's not producing that result. Okay, stop it. Just stop it. Or I'm comfortable at 4 active clients. Okay, let's try to get comfortable with 5 and then 6. And then let's just see where you truly can't handle anymore. And then let's talk about, is that an assistant? Is that technology? Is that a virtual assistant? Is that utilizing team staff differently? Is that utilizing the schedule differently? Is that partnering with another agent at your brokerage to scratch each other's back a little bit? There are ways. This is how the world works. This is how things get improved. But at its simplest form, here's some math for you, okay? If in 2021, you needed to sign 40 buyers a year to close 25 buyers a year, it may be true, and in some markets today, I think it absolutely is true, that you need to sign 80 buyers to sell 25 buyers' homes, because there's a lot of fear and anxiety and uncertainty in many real estate markets right now: economic, geopolitical, interest rates, war, gas prices, stock market, job security, all these things that are very real in this erratic world that we live in. And I don't know that the world's going to get a lot less erratic in the next 20 years or so.
I can think of 2 or 3 occasions in the last couple of weeks where one of our team members has signed a new client, and within 24 hours, the client's like, I think we need to change course.
Yeah. And it wasn't about the agent. It was about the act of buying or selling.
Correct.
Right. It was like, you're great, but we're just going to hit the brakes. We're not sure right now. Yeah. So my point is this: if you're in a market where none of that is true, then tune out.
And congratulations.
Yeah. Well done. Go get it while the getting's good. But for the vast majority of the rest of people, and we coach people from Florida to California and Canada to South Texas. So we got just about every major market or kind of market covered. All that to say, the vast majority of people we're talking to now, even people that are having their best years ever, are still finding that they're having to work more per closed transaction. And so what I'm telling you is to put the vast majority of your focus on new client getting. Now you can get past clients, again, repeat clients are fine. I just mean getting more active people out, searching for houses if you're on the buy side, listing houses if you're on the sell side. And this is a critical if something happens, I want you to have at least a penciled out plan for if the release valve opens up. If all of a sudden you had twice as many buyers and they really are ready to make offers, transact and close, and you're like, that's beyond my normal capacity. I just want you to have a penciled out plan for what you would do. You might have another agent in your office that's like, I would gladly go show those homes and put together offers and let you have the final approval for a percentage of that deal, for a flat fee, for a percent at closing, whatever that is. That's solvable. So the question is, who would that be? Look, can I have a conversation with them and just say, I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is what I'm trying to do. And if it happens, are you open to this? That's just a plan B in the best case scenario where you have more clients than you could literally handle.
Yeah.
If you're on a team and you're like, I'm going to push my limit on getting listings, can team lead and staff back me up in the event that all of a sudden I had 23 offers come in on the same day and I'm only used to 10? Whatever. I'm just making numbers up to illustrate the point. But what I'm saying is if all you had was just a little penciled in one-page plan, one-sheet plan, there's 3 or 4 bullets of if this, then that, then you can alleviate that fear of, well, what if I do go get all these clients and they all want to actually transact? Well, here's what's going to happen. It's going to be a really intense 30, 45, 60, or 90 days, hopefully longer. And it's going to be crazy. And you're going to need to have some custom solutions and some help and probably pay for some help and make some mistakes and learn along the way and have an incredible run of closings, income, happy clients, reviews, past clients that can repeat and refer, and it'll very, very likely be worth it. Maybe not pain-free, maybe not without a failure or two, but would you rather that, or would you rather continuing to grind and slog in the anxiety, confusion, frustrated, murky middle that many markets are in? I can just tell you the agents on our team, the agents that we coach that are approaching it that way are happier, are more consistent. You know, we've got a guy on our team right now that's signing not quite, but almost a listing a day, a work day, a business day lately. And he understands that principle. Now, you know, there's some frustrations with the market with him and things aren't all going as well as he wants, but he understands the concept that for me to hit my goals, I still have to take great care of these people. This isn't just like a volume, don't do a good job, but this is, I need more people. I'm going to have more of those conversations about price reductions and here's what's happening in the market and stay confident. We just need to wait. All that's true. But without it and without some external factor that you have no control over, how do you expect to hit your goals, make your money, have your impact? So my proposal is that you got to go get more clients. Now, how do you do that? Well, the short answer is however you got the last ones, do more of that, right? So is it more phone calls? Is it more open houses? Is it generating more leads? Is it shaking more hands, sending more handwritten notes? Is it, reaching out to referral partners more? Is it joining another referral group? I don't know. None of those am I in love with. But my point is you got to do more of the input on what's worked in the past and what's working now. If that's not enough, then you got to do some quick analysis of what's the next most likely thing to work that I can afford the time, the dollars, the follow-up on. And I'm going to be really intense about that. But for most people in this market, especially most of the people that listen to this podcast, you've probably got plenty of leads. You have access to plenty of leads, even if you offered a slightly different comp model to get access to more leads. You could call them, you could text them, you could email them, you could write notes, you could visit, you could mail them things. You probably have some people in your sphere of influence that you haven't talked to in a while. You probably have some referral partners that you haven't fully partnered with, or you haven't added as much value as you could to get more value. You might have some dormant or old lead sources. You might have some things you've always wanted to try that you haven't tried. You probably have some people that you don't have a review from. You probably have some reviews that you haven't fully published or distributed. Whatever the case is, unless you are new or unless you've been really, really ineffective for a long period of time, there's probably quite a lot that you could do more with without having to go experiment right now. So my proposal is that if you'll do the hard thing, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm just saying if you'll do the hard things needed to go get metaphorically, I'm not saying metaphorically, but just as an example, twice as many clients. Maybe it's 30% more, whatever. You can hit your goals, and your worst case ends up being your best case, that it all hits at once and you sell twice as many listings or twice as many buyers as you had expected to.
You've said this a few different occasions over the years to our team at different points. And I thought it was interesting that one of our team members this time around when we were talking about it as a group was like, you know what? This is the time that I need to do that.
Yep.
Like, because the frustration is there that I've done the thing I can control. I've gone and got the clients. I have the normal number of people that I would have to be making a great income and selling a bunch of houses and stuff. But the hesitancy is so much higher that they were like, yeah, you're right. This is the time more than ever that I need to go and do that.
Yeah. And this is an agent that
seasoned.
Understands our values very well,
Yeah.
that doesn't take more clients than they can handle because they want to have the capacity to surprise and delight and deliver world-class value to that client. That's what we teach. Know your capacity to delight a client, establish that as your max capacity, and then create a waiting list. Be oversubscribed. This is a market where that's still true, but it is terribly difficult to be beyond your capacity in this market because we need to expand our capacity. You need to have more clients to get the right number of closings, to get the right number of dollars. Now, there's some other things you could do. You could aim for a slightly higher price point if that's working in your market. You could do the work that we talk about quite often to increase your fee so you can hit your income goals without having to do quite as many transactions. All that sort of goes without saying on this podcast because we talk about those things so much. But if you're brand new, if this is the first episode of Commission that you're listening to, hi, I'm Todd Tremonti. This is Ian Daniels. One of the things that we are most passionate about is helping agents understand their existing value and make sure they're being compensated fairly for that. And then also increase your value to your client, real actionable, legitimate value to your client, and increase your compensation. So you're making more per transaction and your clients are still thrilled to pay it because they're still getting, multiples of that in value. So those are some other things you could certainly incorporate right now to make sure that you still hit your income goals and your impact goals. But the main push of this episode is you might just need to go get a bunch more clients. Do the things you know to do that already have produced clients. If not, get on the phones more, do more open houses, be more active on social media, call your past clients, call your vendor partners, call your leads, call your potential clients, call people that you know are not going to do business with you, but might be able to introduce you to somebody that would. Be a voice of reason, be a voice of clarity and all the confusion. There's lots of things you can do. Go get on YouTube, find all sorts of stuff. The point I'm making is you need to do way more of that than you might have previously been comfortable with. You can hit your goals. In the worst case, where this just continues forever, you'll be more positioned to help more people make more money. In the best case, which sometimes feels like the worst case, where you end up with more clients than you feel like you could handle, you just need a quick plan B for who's going to help you, what you're going to do if that happens. It's probably another agent in your brokerage, your team leader, another team member, or worst case, it's an app like Showami or Showami, where you can jump on an app and find an agent that will show property for you. Or you could find an agent in your town and say, could I pay you to do some of the preliminary paperwork or whatever for me? All that is figure outable. All of that is solvable. Let's go create the good problem of having more clients than we're normally used to dealing with and handling. And that's going to go really, really well for us in this market. If I can help you implement a system like this or figure out how to get more listings or get more buyers, by the way, all this applies to recruiting as well for leaders. Just click the link somewhere near this episode. You'll be able to get access to not a lot of options, but a few options on my calendar to spend 15 minutes or so together. And I'd be happy. I actually love these conversations. That's why I do them for free. To talk to you about implementing this or other critical systems or philosophies or values in your business to help you build the business that supports the life you want to live, a life of big income and big impact. Just click the link near this episode, jump on my calendar. Also, if you really like this type of thinking and this work and growing your business, we have a 2-day event called Real Growth Summit in September in Dallas, Texas, this year, 2026. Right now you can still get buy one, get one tickets. The room is capped at 100 people, so we can keep it really valuable and really connected. But we still have some space, and there's still buy one, get one tickets available at realgrowthsummit.com. So realgrowthsummit.com. You can spend a couple of days with Ian and me, our team, our coaching clients, our mastermind members, and some other great agents from all over North America. Our headline sponsor is Real Geeks, websites and CRM. So join us. Check it out at realgrowthsummit.com. You can still get BOGO tickets or just jump on my calendar with the link near this episode. We'll talk to you on the next one.